you know what? I was sitting here thinking about, some of the funny things that has happened to us, during our investigations. And one of the things that came to mind was when you and I we were in New Orleans, and we were doing a story over there on voodoo and Marie Laveau and that kind of a thing. And we've been out, most of the day, and we're walking around, and we've been all over Bourbon Street in investigating, right?
Oh, yeah, we did lots of
Okay.
investigating that street. That was my favorite street.
The Blacksmith's Bar was an awesome haunted place, and that had a lot of activity, by the way, lots of spirits in there. But the one thing that came to mind was, after the night was up and we were ready to go, I wanted to head to the car, and I had a route kind of planned out in my mind on how we were going to get back, and she came up with a shortcut.
Yep.
So I said, okay, instead of, going into this great debate with her about which way is the quickest way back to the car, I said, I'll just follow, how bad can it be? Well, how when you're walking around, you kind of have that sense that something just isn't quite right. Well, that's kind of the way it went with me, and then I was like, we're getting really far away from all the lights, and we're really moving into, kind of the bad side of town.
Oh my God. Like when we got there, and there's like these alleyways and everything, and this really like questionable neighborhood. He makes me walk like 30 feet ahead to see if anybody's going to jump me, and then he follows behind.
Well, I was holding $6,000 worth of
You're
camera
like,
equipment.
take her.
You were definitely the least expensive option there if they took something.
Oh, damn.
I'm kidding. But the thing was that when we were walking around, we ended up walking probably, I want to say, 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles, the opposite direction of where we should have been going. So it took us quite a long time, and it was a real bad neighborhood, and we had people walking around, and when you're carrying that much equipment and that kind of basically you have that much expense invested in this stuff, whether people are following you or not, you kind of think they are regardless.
Paranoid.
Yeah, you're paranoid. So we really had to walk as quickly as we could, and it was really hot that day too.
Yeah.
So from that night, the whole night.
Contributed to his crankiness.
Yeah, so
lots.
we finally made it back though. Everything was okay, but needless to say, after all the walking and the paranoia and finally getting the equipment back in the car, it was a really big relief. But she almost got into a fight with some lady at Marie Laveau's grave. You're supposed to have respect for the dead, and Marie Laveau, she's a voodoo queen, and and people do marks on the grave to make wishes for things to come true and things of that nature. There's a lot of voodoo still done there at her gravesite, but a lot of it's really defacing the gravestone. And this one lady right in front of us, while we're videoing, is over there marking it up with a marker.
A Sharpie marker.
Yeah, and she jumped in and said, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. And it almost turned pretty bad, but I wasn't letting go of the camera. I was going to get all that on tape if it didn't go south. But these are all kind of fun things. What was yours?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't make that trip due to work, but hopefully this year, we'll all be able to get to go over there. It sounds like you guys have a blast over there.
Yeah.
We did do some great investigations this past year, even up to a couple of weeks ago. There was that lady that threw the ball. She walked into the house and hid it from everybody, and that had us stumped for at least a good hour and a half as to how that ball went through the wall.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then, but when I set up these cameras, I try to get every angle I can, and I think we got her on every camera from where that ball was all the way to outside. And I think a lot of it was just, it wasn't paranormal, but it was funny because we all got scared. We were trying to figure out where this ball came from.
I was very skeptical when I met her.
Well, you and I were inside when all this happened. We were sitting on the couch and we started seeing flashlights, and we're like, hey guys, enough with the flashlights. And then we finally went outside, and that's when the explanation,
Well, that's when we were standing out there, and we heard that loud crash, and all of a sudden this, ball ended up, right there near us. And the last time we'd seen this ball was inside the house. Either it manifested itself through the walls and, flung itself at us, or it grew legs.
We hope that was the case.
Right.
We don't like to see that these clients are manipulating our the way we do things. And I mean, we tried everything in our power to prove that the ball did dissolve and go through a wall and come at you guys, but you know, the video is, you know, tells the truth.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, you all do a good job when you set up the cameras and make sure that all the angles are covered. And so, I mean, there's no way, I mean, anything's going to get by us. I mean, even with the amount of recording equipment, video equipment, and all that kind of stuff that we put out, I mean, it's going to get caught. I mean, that's just all there is to it. You
Yeah,
know,
but I'm always bearer of bad news when I'm sitting there reviewing everything, and I was like, I knew it! I knew she took that ball!
you're the leader. That's your job. That's not ours. You know, and she does a good job, you know, looking through the evidence and getting everything together that we need. And I mean, because really you get more than one person looking at it right in at one time, and it just, you know, becomes kind of a cluster, you know, to say the least.
Well, that's an easy way to pin all the work on me.
It's the only way. So what's your most memorable time?
I think it was when we were in Schulenburg, and we went to go investigate this house that had a lot of noises happening. And well, anyway, I went in to do my walkthrough to see if I sensed anything. I really didn't sense anything other than I heard some noise coming from a room that had the door closed. And that was the only room in the house that had the door closed. Well, anyway, naturally, I open up the door, I walk in, it's dark, I take 2 steps, I hear a hiss, and then I take another step, and I tripped over something large, and I turned on the light, and it was a freaking alligator, like a 6-foot alligator, just roaming in the bedroom. So anyway, the lady hears me scream. She comes in, and she's like, what are you doing in that room? And I was like, well, you're saying you hear noises. I heard a noise. I went to go check it out, and you got a freaking alligator. It's like, why? And she's like, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I'm not supposed to have that. I'm like, you think?
Then we need to start asking these people if they've got any pets, foreign or domestic.
Well,
oh, yeah, we've learned since then.
Well, you know, that's the thing. I mean, you never know what you're going to come across when you're investigating a home. But sometimes we get so relaxed as far as what we're doing that, you know, we fail to understand sometimes that people may have exotic pets.
Or some other things they don't want found.
What is your most memorable experience, you know, when, you know, out of all the cases we've done?
Well, besides the alligator, well, we went to this one house a while back that this guy was experiencing paranormal activity. And anyway, well, I did my walkthrough except for his bedroom. He said that was off limits, and I asked him, you know, I'm not sensing anything throughout the house. Why can't I check out the bedroom? You know, what, you know, is happening in that room? Is that where the activity happens? And he said, yeah. Okay, yeah, I know why there's activity happening in that room. Well, when I finally convinced him to let me go check it out, there's a freaking cookie jar on the nightstand. I open it up. Guess what's in it? An assload of cocaine. That's why he's experiencing some weird stuff.
So his paranormal events which were taking place were artificially and chemically produced.
Yes, exactly. And then he freaked out and wanted us to leave when he found out Eddie here is a cop.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
Needless to say, a little name dropping to the right people, I think,
Yeah.
probably took care of that issue. And I think all
We're here to help everybody.
yeah, I mean, all paranormal activity, I think at that point ceased.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a good thing.
Yep.
So anyway, I mean, these are all really cool stories. And, you know, the more we talk about them, the more I think I look forward to our next case and to see what else we're going to encounter and what we come across. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's very interesting. And meeting new people has always been a fascination of mine because you just never know who you're going to meet, what they're going to be like, you know, and what kind of cases we're going to come across, or just people calling us on. I think that's really cool.
I think I'm ready to go check out some more vampires in New Orleans.
I bet you are. And
Yep.
you'll see that video later. She got her eye on this one vampire.
Hey,
I don't know.
it's good looking.
And so, hey, you never know. I tried to stay out of that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just go about our business and do something else that's cool.
Well, hopefully we've got some good investigations coming up. I think we've gotten some phone calls and some stuff, so maybe...
We do, as a matter of fact. You know what? We're actually looking forward to going back to Louisiana, back to New Orleans, but this time we're going to be looking at La Rougarou.
Oh, okay.
And there's been a lot of reports of sightings over there as well, you know, with that. And I think there was also some other UFO sightings that were here in San Antonio as well that we might be looking into.
Yep.
So, I mean, we still have things coming in, so we just, you know, put them in a priority list and go into it from there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can all be there for whatever comes up, and we look forward to the next one.
Well, we need to all try and be there as best we can. I know it's difficult with all our schedules and stuff, but I mean, I think if we really plan this right, we can all be there and make a really good case out of some of these.
Yep. And we've got some new experiments that we want to try with.
Yeah.
I think in our last team meeting we talked about, so hopefully we can get all that together and try before our next investigation and really get after it.
Definitely.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, let's put our heads together and see what we can come up with.
Sounds good.
Alright, cool.
Okay.